North Sentinelese Tribe. The Sentinelese tribe is known for its strict isolationism. They often react aggressively to unauthorized intrusions into their territory. In the early 1960s, the Indian government tried to befriend them, but to say it didn't go well would be an understatement. The government declared the island off-limits to protect their sovereignty and keep intruders away, creating a 5-kilometer buffer zone around it. You might think you could ignore this ban and wander onto the island, but that would be a terrible idea, as anyone who has ever tried never lived to tell the story. In 2006, 2 Indian fishermen who had been illegally fishing for crabs moored their boat near the Sentinelese island and fell asleep. The boat broke loose and drifted onto the shores of the island. They were set upon by the tribe's warriors and axed to death, their bodies strapped to bamboo sticks facing the sea as a warning to others. In 2018, another incident occurred, and this time it was an American missionary who was killed. He illegally traveled to the island with the intent of converting them to Christianity. The Sentinelese tribe issued warnings on 4 different occasions, but he persisted in attempting to make contact, which ultimately led to his fatal encounter. His dead body was seen dragged up and down the shore by the tribe's warriors. The Sentinelese people have made it clear that they do not want contact with outsiders, and their reactions are based on a desire for isolation and self-preservation rather than inherent danger. Any contact could mean the extinction of their people, as they have no immunity against diseases like flu and malaria. They shoot arrows at helicopters and approaching boats, so if you're ever thinking of visiting, chances are there's already an arrow waiting for you. Sand Tribe. The Sand people, also known as Bushmen, have existed for over 20,000 years. They are descendants of the early Stone Age ancestors and the first dwellers in South Africa. Famous for their hunting skills, they are nomads who move from place to place and live under rocky overhangs, mountains, and caves. The Sandmen are also formidable trackers who can follow the trails of any animal across virtually any surface. They hunt animals with poison-tipped arrows, obtained from the larvae of small beetles, snake venom, and plants. However, despite their extensive knowledge of herbs and toxins, the Sands are still vulnerable to the poison, so when consuming the meat from the dead animal, the area where the arrow struck is always cut out and thrown away. The Sand Tribe believes in the supremacy of a powerful god called Kagan, who can assume many forms, including the praying mantis, a snake, and a vulture. They also worship the moon and pay homage to their ancestors through offerings and sacrifices. Europeans during the war significantly reduced their numbers, fighting them with horses and firearms. The Sand people were vastly outnumbered, and although they were very courageous, did not stand a chance against the Europeans. However, they still chose to fight to the death instead of capture and slavery. Their way of life was strongly altered by colonialism, and they were no longer given the privilege to roam freely and hunt like they did in the past. Asmat Tribe. With an estimated population of about 65,000 people, the Asmat Tribe is notorious for headhunting and cannibalism. They live on a small island mangrove in Papua, a province of Indonesia. Historically, the Asmat engaged in ceremonial practices that involve the killing and consumption of the brains and flesh of their enemies, reflecting complex cultural rituals. They strip the skull of its brains and eyes, closing up the nasal parts too, to prevent evil spirits from entering the body. The empty skull is used as a pillow for sleep and a bowl to eat. However, the killing and eating of flesh and brains by the Asmat people were not just random. They were known to hunt for names and believed that by killing and eating another person, they would absorb his power and name, becoming him. Every Asmat person is named after a tribe member who passed away or an enemy they hunted and ate. The tribe's people would only give names to many of the Asmat children once they were much older and had completed their first successful hunt. They must know the name of the victim and can only take the name for themselves after eating his flesh. The hunting generally included attacking enemy villages and might even include unsuspecting visitors. In an improbable scenario, an unsuspecting visitor to Indonesia could unwittingly become a target in the Asmat tradition of name-taking. However, while there is historical evidence of cannibalism and headhunting, these practices are no longer a representation of the Asmat people today. The Asmat people also believe they come from wood and hold the forest sacred. Since ancient times, they have carved wooden relics, including detailed statues and sculptures with incredible craftsmanship. Asaro Mudmen. Not all indigenous tribes are deadly killers, but this particular tribe located on the New Guinea island certainly looks the part. However, looks can be deceiving, as the Asaro Mudmen, or the Halosa, which translates to ghosts, are peaceful people. However, seeing them for the first time might make one scared because they cover themselves from head to toe with gray mud and wear demonic-looking clay head masks. They elongate their fingers with bamboo sticks and move in a slow single file to a rhythmic pattern that can be likened to a spiritual dance. The truth is they look this way to intimidate and scare their enemies, to avoid war and conflict. Why go to war when you could scare them to victory? The Asado Mudmen adopted this look when attacked by another enemy tribe. During the attack, they hid in the Asado River, and when they came out, were covered from head to toe with gray mud. The attackers saw them and fled in fear, believing they were the ghosts of past Asado people they killed. The Asado people realized this was a great and intelligent way to avoid conflict and war, so they continued the practice. The masks are made by a skilled craftsman who ensures they are all unique and different. Some have horns, tusks, and fangs, while some are painted and decorated with other colors. The bottom line is the masks should be as scary as possible. Kowai Tribe. The Kowai Tribe is another indigenous tribe living deep inside the rainforest of Indonesia, completely isolated from modern civilization. Due to the high mortality rate caused by jungle diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, and severe anemia, most of them do not live past 50, as they have no immunity to fight these illnesses. However, these deaths are blamed on an evil demon called Kakua, who is said to take the form of their loved ones to kill and eat the flesh of the tribespeople. So if anyone dies from malaria or anemia, Kakua is blamed, and to stop the demon, the Kowai people capture, kill, and eat the flesh of anyone suspected of being possessed. To identify the Kakua amongst them, the victim dying would mention the name of the person he suspects as the one eating his flesh from the inside, and once a name is mentioned, the tribespeople would kill and eat the person, which means they avenge the death by eating the Kakua responsible. Although the cannibalism of the Kowai tribe has reduced significantly, partly in reaction to several incidents with the police, it is believed that many of the tribe's people are still murdered and eaten each year. Huaron Tribe. In 1956, 5 evangelical Christians from the United States journeyed to the depths of the Amazon rainforest in search of the Huaron people. The Huaron Tribe, located within the Ecuadorian Yasuni National Park, had never been contacted. Still, these men decided the best thing to do was to journey from America and introduce a new god to them. The contact was complex, and there were a lot of misunderstandings on both sides. Although the Christians offered gifts to the tribe when they arrived, and the tribespeople collected the gifts with fear, but mostly excitement, they were all still brutally speared to death at night by the tribe warriors. A search party found their dead bodies floating on the banks of a river. Nobody knows the exact reason for the sudden hostility, but it is speculated that the 5 men had set up camp too close to a Huaorani settlement. The Huaorani people are fiercely territorial, attacking anyone who tries to enter their lands, including other Huaorani. They maintain a solid in-group out-group distinction between relatives of the tribe and other people unrelated to them, and have been known to kill plantain workers and explorers who come too close. The tribe's primary source of survival is hunting monkeys and other small animals with spears and blowguns. Tree climbing is a vital skill for hunting monkeys, and members consider it crucial. However, the long-standing practice of climbing trees has caused the Huaorani people to experience different forms of physical adaptation to their feet, including flattened and extra toes. Botak Tribe. The first distinct feature of the Botak people is their physical attributes of dark skin and curly hair. They are considered to be of Negrito stock and live in the high mountains of the Philippines, with ancient practices and customs that shape their lives and traditions. Before the Botak people's marriage ceremony, a process called the alyog is first performed. This practice is used to determine if the boy's parents agree to his marriage to a chosen girl. The boy's parents are usually escorted by a tribe elder who witnesses the conversation and final agreement. They are also a very spiritual and religious tribe that believes that spirits with the powers to cure and heal severe diseases reside in big rocks and trees. This belief is sacred, and the Balan, the chief priest, performs different rituals to honor these spirits. A ritual called Saghat is performed to the goddess spirit to ask permission for Kangain, the farming process used by the tribe involving the slashing and burning of trees and plowing the ashes as fertilizer. If the tribe's people get no sign or dream of disagreement with the goddess within 3 days and night, then Kangain would proceed. Simu Tribe. In the mountain terrains of the central highlands of Papua New Guinea, you would find the happy, simple tribe of the Simu people. The Simu people live in tiny settlements with oval houses, low thatched roofs, and flattened reed-woven walls. The men stay together in one communal house, while the women, children, and pigs live separately. They do not have much and rely on hunting for survival. Pigs are their most prized possessions and are used in exchange for marriage ceremonies and death rituals, and as push gifts to thank the woman after childbirth. Another distinct practice among the Simu people is a pig-killing practice known as Bugla Ingu. In this ceremony, thousands of pigs are killed, cooked, and distributed amongst the different tribes as a form of exchange ceremony to maintain good relationships and peace. Aunu Tribe. The peaceful Aunu Tribe hasn't been heard of in many centuries, but with only 4 members left, they may soon go extinct. Originating from Rondônia in Brazil, the Aunu people speak a unique language that sounds unlike anything you've ever heard. Tragically, Brazilian cattle ranchers in the 1980s perpetrated a massive massacre that almost completely wiped them out. The reason for this attack was that the cattle ranchers believed that if contact was made through the official channel, their forest would be turned into an indigenous reserve and closed off to loggers and cattle ranchers. The government made official contact with them in the 1990s, and it was discovered that only 7 members of the Aunu tribe survived. Only 2 men, 3 women, and 2 young girls were left, but eventually the oldest member and tribe shaman died during their sleep. In 2000, a tree fell on one of their homes, killing the youngest girl. The remaining 4 members are the last known survivors of their people. Agori Tribe. The Agori Tribe, numbering around 70 members and based in Uttar Pradesh, India, practices a distinct and intense form of Hinduism, which includes unique post-mortem rituals that significantly diverge from mainstream practices. While we hold simple burial rituals, the Agoris take it a step deeper by smearing ashes all over their bodies, dwelling in the cremation grounds, and eating the flesh from the dead bodies. They use human bones to make skull caps and jewelry and believe many of their practices have healing powers. The Agori of the present trace their origins to Baba Kinaram, who was said to have lived for 150 years and died in the second half of the 18th century. He is regarded as an incarnation of Shiva, and his birth is marked by several miraculous signs, including the fact that he was born with a complete set of teeth, a rare phenomenon and a sign of spiritual power. Following his birth, Baba Kinaram, revered in Agori tradition, did not cry or consume his mother's milk for 3 days. On the 4th day, his family was visited by 3 monks, believed to be incarnations of the Hindu gods Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, marking a significant turning point in his early life. After the visit, he cried and accepted his mother's milk. The Agoris are the holy men of death, who live on the edge of life and death and live in isolation from modern society. Jwa Tribe. The Jwa people, with a population of 270, are amongst the last mainly uncontacted tribes in the Andaman Islands, which are located in the Indian Ocean. They are nomadic and move from place to place, surviving through hunting boars and fish. They supplement their meal with the fruits and vegetables harvested from their current environment. Most ancient tribes were mainly nude, but the members of the Jwa tribe were always naked and adorned themselves with objects like flowers, painted plastics, and shells from nature. Clay is sometimes spread on the body and used to design and engrave patterns. Honey is another excellent food source for the Jwa people, and both men and women collect wild honey from lofty trees. During the honey collection, the members of each group will sing songs to express their delight, and the honey collector will chew the sap of leaves from a bee repellent plant such as Uyakualan. Once this is done, the Jwa can cut the bee's nest, which they will put in a wooden bucket on their backs and start the journey home. The Jwa people strongly believe in the cycles and phases of the sun and moon, and often use their movement across the sky to judge the success of their hunts.